Good morning, everybody. John here at Havoc Maker Studio. Hoping you guys are having a great Thursday. It is our first really official week of September, full week, and it's a couple days post ReaperCon. I had intended to do a ReaperCon video Tuesday or Wednesday, and I started late Monday. Started getting feeling like really sick, and then really hit on sometime late Tuesday or early Tuesday morning. Long story short, after lots of Mucinex D, hot tea, and Vicks Vapor Rub slathered all over my body, I'm feeling a lot better now. That's the reason why I didn't do the two videos. So so I apologize I didn't get that out, but here we are. We're going to talk about ReaperCon. So some of the picture quality I should have been checking when I was taking the pictures. I guess my iPhone 8 is just so bad at taking pictures that they were bad. So I will get some pictures posted up on our Facebook page when I can get some good ones, and I'm going to steal some other people's photos, but I'll definitely put some credit to who they are there. So this last weekend we had ReaperCon 2022. I bought the tickets, the VIP package, 2 days prior to the event. I wasn't going to go until somebody reminded me, "Hey, ReaperCon is this weekend," and then a bunch of my friends were going to be up there with their store. I had other friends that were attending the event. There was a number of independent game designers and miniature sculptors that were going to be there. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a lot of little awesome, cool things that were going to be happening in one location. Not even 15 minutes. I think it's like 12 minutes down the road from me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got to do this. So I pulled the trigger. I went ahead and got the VIP package, $100. And I tell you what, we'll get back to it, but it was a good value. I'm definitely glad I spent the $100 on the VIP package. In fact, it was such a good idea that as soon as ReaperCon 2023 is announced and tickets go on sale, I will be getting tickets, VIP package again, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. So before I dive into that and we talk about all the events, that the classes, the events, the gaming schedule, all that kind of stuff, I want to give a shout out to a friend of mine, CJ Menard. He's down in Houston, Texas area, and this is his first ReaperCon, just like me. And this is his first time entering the Master Series Painters Open, and he took home the silver for his Glacier King, and it is a gorgeous Glacier King. I mean, I've always been fascinated with this model ever since I saw it years and years ago, and I really want to get the model just because it's such a great visually such a great model, and he did a fantastic job of painting this model. He was nervous about it. It was like, okay, I totally understand. You always want to be nervous whenever you enter painting contests. I always have been, and but his hard work and his diligence and his meticulous way he paints really paid off. And his first time got the silver. I mean, congratulations, CJ. I am super jealous that you, not that you won. Well, I'm super jealous that you won, but I'm super jealous that you thought so far ahead of me to enter. I really wish I would have been pre-planning. And this is what I'm telling you. This is one of the aspects I'm telling everybody is wish I would have had thought about the pre-planning to attend to the convention, prepare a model, or I think I would have probably entered several cases. So like right now, I'm going to start pre-planning for 2023 and a variety of models for a variety of their categories to compete in. But neither here nor there. Anyways, big shout out to him. I mean, I don't think I could have gotten a silver, and I'm not going to take any credit away from CJ. He did such a phenomenal job. Kudos, my dude. Kudos. Anyways, let's get back to the ReaperCon schedule. So one of the reasons why I'm going to recommend that you guys once ReaperCon or any convention, and I'm not, I should back that up. Not any convention, any full experience gaming convention like ReaperCon, DragonCon, MagCon, those sort of things. You want to go ahead and get your tickets in advance, because if they have classes available to them or specific games or specific events that you want to attend, you're going to want to get your tickets early. And that was one of the things I regretted not doing, because I had thought about this earlier in the year. I think around March, when I was talking to folks at Board and Brew Games in Humble, Texas. They had told me about ReaperCon to sign up for some classes, painting classes, because they have ReaperCon has some of the best in the world class. I just say world class painters, sculptors, game designers that attend their event, and they hold classes for you, which I think is absolutely awesome. And if you get the VIP tickets, which was only $100 for 4 days, which is so cheap on a convention, and you get early access to signing up for those classes if you do the VIP package. I mean, it's a no-brainer. And so next year, that is the number one thing I'm going to do. All the swag stuff that came inside of the VIP package, great, fantastic. I got more than my, I got more. No, how do you say it? I definitely got my money's worth and then some after this convention. But the class and event schedule, if I would have been pre-registered, I would have, there's so many different classes that I would have sat in on. And it's not just for like advanced people, and it's classes all week long for, well, 4 days long, from 9 a.m. on Thursday to I think 12 or just 11 o'clock on Sunday. But that's 4 days worth of classes for posing and sculpting, painting eyes. How many of you out there, raise your hands, has a problem with painting eyes? Painting skin, painting like freehanding designs on models, that sort of thing. Conversion, all these different things that are going on that, you know, some people are like, I don't know how to do that. I've never done that, or I'm just a beginner. This is the event that you want to go to because you have experts sitting down, walking you through it. We're talking like subject matter experts that have won multiple awards for sculpting or painting, whatever. And they're there to give you their knowledge. And for $100 for that entire weekend, that's very, very cheap, very inexpensive. So I'm really going to recommend, once tickets go on sale for ReaperCon 2022, buy the VIP package. Just get the $100, guys. Make sure you pay attention just in case something happens. Pay attention to their refund date. You don't want to end up like folks at the Nova Open that got screwed. But you don't want, so just pay attention to that. But get your tickets as soon as they drop. Sign up for the classes that you want to take, and make sure that if you change your mind later that you don't want to attend a class, deregister from that class. Because when I walked by, there were some classes that were supposed to be full, but there was only a handful of people in there, and it's like there was space for more people because I could have gone to this class. So make sure you deregister. Don't be a jerk, please. So besides all the classes that they have events going on throughout the day, games that are put on by Reaper, by multiple studios, like Ignition Core Games. They had a couple we're going to cover here in a little bit. There were a couple other companies and that were, I can't think of the name of them, but they do the Cav armored miniature game. I'm trying to remember how that works, how that's worded, but they had those going on. There's independent games. So if you wanted to run a game while you're there, let's say 5e, Pathfinder, since it's an event, it's an actual convention, there's a lot of companies out there like Free League Publishing, Modifius, Paizo. I at least know those three that they give. I'm going to call it. You get points, basically. Let's just call it points for running events at a convention. So every hour that you run an event at a convention, or every game that you run at a convention, you get X amount of points that you can spend at their store. This would have been great for me because I could have been running events and earning points for my Modifius account and my Free League Publishing account. So next year, I plan on making this a full-on weekend where I'm earning points and I'm earning ReaperCon points. It's just there's a lot that can go on this weekend, and but I'm glad I attended it this time, even though I missed out on a lot of opportunities, because it really opened my eyes to what's out there. So one of the other things that I could recommend is, if you're not interested in the hobbying or the random gaming, they have scheduled events that go on throughout the day. One area in particular they had were they had paint and take miniatures. So you can sit down. They have a variety of Reaper miniatures there, and you can paint right there. They have people walking around. They can even show you, oh yeah, this is how you apply this. This is how you dry brush. Really basic stuff. But you get up and walk out with that miniature after that session. They also had a variety of painting competitions, or sessions, if you will, where you sit down. They had 3 particular ones. They had a speed painting, which I did, and at least on the one I did, I definitely won. And you have 45 minutes to paint a model. I'm going to brag a little bit. 10 minutes into painting, I dropped my model into my water pot, and and if you've ever done that before, or if you've gotten too much water on your model and you just watch all the paint run off, that's what happened to me. But I still had time to dry it off and reapply all the paint and still win. So do it. Just enjoy the event. So we had the speed painting, and we had there was a Sophie Says, which is kind of like Simon Says style painting contest. And they had another painting contest where they roll this giant, like, I don't know, like 2 or 3 foot in diameter blow up D20. And you have to do certain things or use certain colors or brushes on the dice roll. So it was a lot of fun things going on, about 5 of those classes per day. And just by doing those classes, guys and gals, just by doing those classes, you get what they call Reaper Bucks. And those Reaper Bucks for doing a variety of things every day, not just those little painting contests, but going to classes, going to all the booths, everything like that. You get those Reaper Bucks that you get to spend at the Reaper Bucks store, which had tons of Reaper miniature content, t-shirts, hats, cups, light boxes, tons of stuff that you could spend that on during the weekend. I'm going to give you one recommendation right now. Do as much as you can Thursday, Friday, and about midday on Saturday, because after midday Saturday, most people hit that Reaper Buck store and all that stuff disappears. And then on Sunday, you're looking at the leftovers and there's not a lot left over. So my number one recommendation, besides the VIP package, is hit the Reaper Buck store around noon, 1 o'clock on Saturday. Do not wait until later on in the day, Saturday, or later on Sunday, because you will miss out. And I missed out. So really cool event so far. All the activities you get to do, all the gaming that you get to do, all the classes. I would say right now, this is probably my favorite convention. This is definitely a convention to go to, guys. This is what I consider like the full-on gaming experience or gaming convention. Now, there's other types of conventions I've talked about before, like the one I was partnered up with when we were running Warzone Houston. Now my partner Alan he's got that all That's all on him now. Warzone Houston is all him. So please stop messaging me, people, about Warzone Houston. I am not running Warzone Houston. That is a tournament or full on just a game convention, but it's really, I hate saying game convention. That's more like a tournament convention because they have all their activities are centered around playing tournaments, right? Where a gaming convention, and more in the traditional sense, or in I guess the literal sense, is there's gaming, there's hobbying, there's vendors, there's classes, and that's what ReaperCon is. That's what Gen Con is. Even Adepticon, and I would say Dragon Con. Those are the big ones. MagCon is another one down in Humble, Texas area. So these are the gaming conventions. These are the ones that they have everything for everybody. And I really enjoyed this. Is really a great idea that I attended. Now, those of you that are worried about masks, there was plenty of social distancing between tables and chairs. They had it was really open. I do have some PTSD issues, and being around lots of people gets me, and I did not feel that the entire weekend. There was that much space available, and even though it was crowded, you can see like here's when they're making their announcements on all the activities that were going on that or all the future stuff coming out of Reaper. This is like the most crowded area at one point. Everything else was open. It was available. I never felt clustered. So it is a really good thing to attend. The hallways were wide open. Like I said, the spacing for all the tables was wide open for gaming and such. Even the vendor hall was wide open. So I'm gonna highly recommend if worried about that sort of thing, don't be with ReaperCon. Maybe Gen Con, but not ReaperCon. Okay, so a couple shout outs I want to do. That I'm going to be doing more talking about in the future. I've talked about Magical Girl Assault from Ignition Core Games before, and I had a chance to play the game, see some more miniatures up close. I do have a couple miniatures somebody 3D printed off to me. I don't have a full team because I just want specific ones printed off. But this is a Magic Punk low model count skirmish game in which each fire team is led by a titular magical girl battling alongside her sister units to accomplish strategic objectives. It's an anime inspired tabletop skirmish game. It does play fairly fast. We took maybe an hour and a half to learn. I'd say about an hour and a half to learn how to play and then play it. There are some aspects I'm like, no, this needs to get worked on. But overall, I would say in a rural or in our gaming community, in our world of that's so saturated with miniature skirmish games, this is a wonderful bright spot because it's a very unique game. It's anime inspired, and it doesn't take itself obviously too seriously since we are talking about anime magical girls. But now, mind you, these are magical girls with guns, and they're not running around in Sailor Moon costumes, that sort of thing. But if that's your jam, I'm sure you could find some miniatures and swap them in. But a lot of real world weapon, Mossbergs and P90s, though there are some fantastical weapons like this weird bow. I'm not even sure how you slot that arrow, but whatever. It was definitely a fun game. There's some aspects, being a veteran, I guess you can say, of skirmish games that I'm not too happy about. There's a couple areas that need just one or two areas. I think I would say two areas of the game that need to be sped up. But after that, and that's a personal opinion, not a professional opinion, a personal opinion. After that, perfect. The models are absolutely great. You can 3D print them or you can buy them. What more could you want? What more could you want? And the rules are free. And alongside Ignition Core Games, they have another one that I just observed playing. I did not sit down and play, but the rules are available online for you to download. And it is Ignition Core. And Ignition Core is you basically it's anime style chibi, I guess you could call it, style miniatures. We're going to take actually a close look here at some of their miniatures. I think that these are really cool miniatures. They're in between chibi and full scale miniatures, but they're definitely enjoyable. And the game, a lot of people look like they're having a lot of fun. And if you want another low count game that plays probably in about less than an hour, this is the style. We're going to be doing a more review on that in the future. A couple of people that I've talked to, we're going to actually sit down and play both Magical Girls Salt and Ignition Core at length. We're not going to be using their miniatures. We're going to be using our own miniatures before we invest in it. But we're going to give you a full-on brief on that, or a deep look into it. Now, the folks over at Black Powder Red Earth weren't there, but there was a local distributor was there, or a local game store was there, and there was another people that had it on one of the game tables. So we got a chance to see the miniatures and the full game up close and play it. And I would say right now, to get the full on game, it's like $300, but you get everything to play the game, including the miniatures. They got more stuff, that they've got more factions they're working out. They just cranked out some new vehicles, a couple of technicals, like a truck and a car. But this game right here, we were done in about 35 minutes. 35, I'm going to say 40 minutes just to be on hi, how you doing, and chit-chatting. Let's say 40 minutes, less than an hour. And that right there sells it for me. Any game that I'm playing over an hour, I'm already kind of getting bored with it. If I can get through a miniature game in under an hour, I am set, because that gives me a chance to play the game, sit back, smoke and joke with some folks, and then we could play another game all within a span of about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, where we got other games that are just, they're really, I think people are getting really fatigued with these larger scale games, like from Corvus Belli, Games Workshop, Privateer Press, where you're in it for 2.5 to 3 hours. Even the Batman miniature game is about an hour and a half long, and we're really starting to push the limits. I think of people, especially when we're seeing these tournaments, we're starting to see downticks in tournaments. At least the tournament style games like Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, and such. And a lot of people are starting to notice that, hey, I can save a small fortune on these miniatures, and I can save time playing these games and have a lot more fun and not deal with clunky rules or really bad apples. I'm not saying that Games Workshop, Privateer Press, Corvus Belli are inundated with, I think that's the right word, tons of bad people, but all it takes is that one bad person at that one event to really ruin your day. And then being exhausted after, really, you're looking at about a 11 to 12 hour day, even though, like, let's say Games Workshop tournaments, you're looking at 3 hours per game, plus about an hour probably for lunch. And then you're there probably 30 to 45 minutes early, let's say 30 minutes early, and then you're there a couple minutes after. That's about an 11 to 12 hour day, guys, and that's exhausting. Now, if I can go to a game event and be done in, I don't know, 4 hours, dude, I'm set. I'm definitely set. Anyways, sorry about the preaching. I really apologize. I started preaching there. And it's just because I just played this game, and the miniatures wowed me, the gameplay wowed me, and the fact that I was done in less than 40, let's go with less than 45 minutes, really sold me enough that I'm going to eventually buy this game. This is the reason why I'm going to play Spectre Operations, because a couple of the games that I've watched at Texas Toy Soldier, they were done in about 35, 45 minutes ish. When I was there. So that right there sells me on these smaller games, especially smaller tactical games. So it was definitely a great experience to be able to play this game and see these games being played from smaller publishers. And the reason why I bring this up, and I'm going to try to speed things up here, is I talked to a couple of game designers while I was there over the weekend, and because I was trying to get some advice for the RPG I'm still working on, and they were like, the future, or we all agreed on, is the future of tabletop skirmish games are not going to be these massive scaled games. It's going to be the smaller scale skirmish games for the tabletop miniature games. Skirmish games are going to be the way to go, and the people that are going to be successful are going to be the ones doing these smaller scale skirmish games, but B, concentrating on the rules and making them quick, fast, fun, and with enough variety that it can draw you in, and miniature agnostic. And that right there means be able to use miniatures from any game. So like Spectre Operations is a great example. They have their own miniature line, but you can 3D print models off from companies like Turn-Based Miniatures, for example. Or you can use miniatures from like Black Powder Red Earth for that game, and it works. The miniature, they're not so worried about the miniatures, they're worried about the game, and they have a good quality game. Osprey Press, or Osprey Publishing, does Gaslands, Stargrave, Frostgrave, and I'm sure right around the corner they've got a modern day game going to be coming out. I can almost guarantee it, that those games where you can use any miniatures that fit the genre is really awesome. You can go to Hassle Free Miniatures. They're somewhere over in Europe. They can sit there. They've got miniatures for post-apocalyptic Earth, for modern day, for fantasy, for futuristic. You can go to them. You can go to pretty much anybody, get those models for these style of games. And that's where the future is starting to look. Those are going to be the ones that are going to be really successful, that are starting to be this slow, but it's starting to pick up pace, but a slow turnover from the big, large-scale games where you're spending thousands of dollars. I'm not preaching, but thousands of dollars playing, to these ones where you're spending a couple $100 to play, and it's faster paced, a lot more enjoyable games, and they're a lot more balanced as opposed to other games that have balance issues. So it was a really eye-opener to be able to sit down and talk to some of these different studios and these different game designers and get that kind of insight. It was really awesome. So in hindsight, I wish I would have sat down and done full-on interviews with them. It would have been a great idea. But the next convention I go to, definitely going to sit down and do that. This was a spur-of-the-moment thing. And it was really for myself more than the channel, but I'm turning it into something for the channel. All right. The last thing I want to talk about, or one of the last things I want to talk about, is Reaper models. They've been cranking out miniatures for years, decades. I'm going to say they're hit or miss. I've been hard on them by far and large. I think that's the right terminology, because just some of their models are just derpy. They remind me of the Raul Partha days, which, when I was a kid, Raul Partha was the jam. I was like, oh my God, these models are amazing. And then, years later, I'm like, those models are garbage. But there's a different level of sculpting, and learning about sculpting, there's a lot more involved. So I've got to give kudos to anybody that's done it, even if I've been hard on them. And I've definitely been hard on Reaper miniatures. I'm going to continue because I do that to everybody. But I would say they've had a big shift recently to where their sculpts are looking really, really good, and the pricing is on point. We're talking really inexpensive, especially if you're out there playing tabletop role-playing games and you need miniatures for your fantasy games. Really, I think Reaper is probably they have a better quality and a better range than almost a better range than, say, the Noel Zier's Marvelous Miniature range from WizKids. Those got more character models, I think, because they're just cranking them out, but the quality is not as good when you compare it to, say, the Reaper models. The Reaper models got a much better quality than those Noel Zier ones. Most of those Noel Zier ones. At any rate, so for the longest time they've been just cranking out miniatures. Now they've got and this is just the beta rules, which are free on their website. The Dungeon Dwellers role playing game. Now this is a 5e adjacent game, so anybody playing Dungeons and Dragons 5e is going to be able to easily slide into it. They bring over a lot of old school stuff. So those of you that really kind of like those first and second edition old school RPGs, at least Dungeons and Dragons, this is really good. The rules are really straightforward. They're very simple, as you would imagine with 5e, and even the converted stuff over that they brought is really easy. It just slides right in. And I'm not going to go into it right now. We'll save that for a future video because this video is getting a little long. The rules, there are some different changes from those rules, from the regular 5e rules, when they brought over some of the old school stuff, but it blends in quite nicely, and it's still keeping up with the rule balance consistency. And just like any 5e system, it's easily modifiable. You can use your own house rules, everything what you expect. And like I said, this is definitely a game that brings a lot of that old school into the new school. Yeah, old school into new school. It's a good blending. I'm still not a big fan of the 5e system because it's just too generic for me. I think it's too video game-ish. There we go, video game-ish, because of the way you level up and it becomes easier and whatnot. I've talked about that before, but reading this and kind of eavesdropping on one of the sessions, I'm actually impressed. And what's even more impressed is they've got a new miniature line that they've been cranking out that goes alongside Dungeon Dwellers. They've got a bunch of free modules that are available online that you can dive right into and play. They don't put a lot of the creature stats in there because you're gonna, with anything with 5e, you just need your monster manual. So they're not making up their own monster manual, so you have to buy a separate monster manual. You can just use your regular Dungeons and Dragons monster manual. And like any 5e game, you still need the player's handbook. But they've got their beta rules, which are really good, well balanced. Excuse me. And I think you might really enjoy it, especially even if you don't use the Dungeon Dwellers rules. You got a bunch of free modules. There's like 5 of them that are available online. They're low levels from like first to I think 6th or 7th level, but it's still free available. And if you've been wanting to do some one shots or two shots, you don't want to buy those $50 campaign books from Wizards of the Coast. Well, here's a couple quick adventures that you can blend right into your open world or West March or whatever they call it game. So last thing I want to talk about, we can wrap this up. We'll be doing a couple of future videos, but I've got a bunch of swag from ReaperCon and some stuff that I won, and I'd like to give it away. So first up, the first thing before I can figure out how to do the rest, I've got a bunch of these light boxes from Reaper Miniatures, and this is just their generic photo, but I've got two of the light boxes. I'm going to keep one for myself. 2 light boxes from Reaper Miniatures that I want to give away. Right now, before I figure out what I want to do the other one, the one I want to give away right now is if we can get up between now, which is September 8th, and October 8th, so that's a month-ish, 30 days. If we can get up to 350 subscribers, right? 350 subscribers by October 8th, I'm just going to give this one. I'm going to add this into the monthly or the quarterly giveaway. We're going to do a quarterly giveaway at the end of October. There's a box for a Song of Ice and Fire. I've got Marvel Crisis Protocol and Games Workshop, a couple Games Workshop boxes, new in box stuff that something's going to be given away. So we're going to give this away on top of that. Then I'm going to have a special light box giveaway sometime between now and the end of September. I'm not sure what, but we're going to have like a special stretch goal. I guess not a stretch goal. We're going to have a special goal we're going to want to reach. But I'll give you guys maybe a week's announcement prior to the actual contest, and then we'll do it, and we'll give the light box away. And you know what? And if it looks like we're going to be hitting that 350 goal before the end of the month, I might when I give this second one away, we might throw in another quarterly giveaway, or not even quarterly giveaway. We might give something else away on that day that we do this. Does that make sense? God, I hope so. Anyways, you guys have yourself a wonderful day. Sorry for the long video, but it's a lot to cover. I will be covering a separate video for Magical Girl Assault, Ignition Core, Black Powder Red Earth, and Dungeon Dweller in the near future. I want to get some information, more information from the companies that are doing these, the designers, the sculptors, and at least for the sculptor that does a Magical Girl Assault and Ignition Core. And I want to see if I can get in contact with the Black Powder Red Earth guys and get some more information so we can do a really awesome video. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that thumbs up or thumbs down. If you put thumbs down or still thumbs up, still let me know what you think of the video. Put it into comments below. Hit the subscription. You guys know what to do. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll chat with you later.